Salutations, my name is Phil, aka JC7, and welcome to another exciting episode of Mirage Monarch. We continue to go through the story arcs here on the villain side, on the red side, and today we are doing Echo down the Aeons. Echo down the Aeons. Let me just check my notes here about this one, see if we can find out about it. Echo down the Aeons. I have 15 reward merits, 30 minutes it took me last time. It's got 3 doors and a couple of kill-alls as part of that. So we're going to go ahead and do Echo down the Aeons here for 15 reward merits, apparently. Alright. Here we go. Echo down the Aeons. Wyvern's been stealing some high-tech gear from Dr. Egon's labs. Sorry, I misspoke. I meant Dr. Aeon's lab. I think that Echo guy's involved again. I need an investigator. Pays good as always. Interested? Interested. As usual, this is on the QT. Your involvement is deniable. There will be no assistance from Arachnos other than my information. Clear? Wyvern will do another raid zone. We want every head caved in. If you find out why they're doing this, tell me. Professor Echo has some kind of plan. I want to know what it is. Oh, there we go. Hey, Brian, how are you doing today? Alright, so we got to defeat, this is one of the first kill-alls, so we're going to head over there and kill all. Now, while I'm going over to do this, I do want to, I feel like I have to start all of my videos nowadays that have Dominators in them with a disclaimer, because I swear on every other Dominator video I get, somebody in the comments section is always like, your domination bar is full, but your endurance was empty. Did you know you could have used your domination bar right there, refilled up your endurance? It would make your hold stronger too, in case you didn't know. Guys, okay, it's unfair for me to expect everybody to watch every single one of my videos and know my line of thinking on this. But that's why I feel like I do a disclaimer at the beginning of every video. I'll put it in the video description that people may or may not read. But I don't use my domination bar unless I'm fighting a boss or something like that, or I really, really need it. Running out of endurance is not a really, really need, especially if I have inspirations just sitting there. I just don't consider that a reason to burn it, because what happens, of course, is it lasts for 90 seconds, and then it's you have to refill it back up. So essentially, it's on a bloody long cooldown, and that's when I'm going to run into a boss, in which I had the double holding power. So yeah, no. Uncle Phil only uses it when he's fighting a boss. That's it. Sometimes I'll use it when I'm out of endurance, just for funsies, or whatever have you. But yes, I'm aware, I'm very, very aware. Like, I also know I have Phantom Army, right? But notice I didn't use the Phantom Army against those two, because it would have been overkill. Backseat drivers. I like to think I know how to play the game. What I'm doing is probably not meta, some might say. And they wouldn't be wrong. They really wouldn't be wrong. But I'm not a big fan of the meta. I never do what's most optimal. Or rarely. If I do what's optimal, it's an accident. It's an accident. No, I wouldn't say classic don't use consumables. So you will see me use inspirations quite a bit. Because with inspirations, they come back pretty quick, and if you don't lose them, you can't pick up any more. There's a max amount of inspirations you can pick up. So you may as well, go ahead and use the bloody things. I mean, I'll use these guys, like right here, my endurance, but well, it's not quite down enough yet. But my endurance bar, when it gets down to I'll burn one of these blue enhancements or inspirations just because. So no, I don't think City of Heroes is really designed for you to hoard consumables. But what you're talking about is a boss assisting power that is on a long cooldown. It's not really consumable. It's a cooldown power, and it's on a long cooldown. It's not like a 30-second cooldown. I usually consider any power that's under, let's say, 30 seconds to be an every combat power. If it's between 30 and 60 seconds, I'll use it for largish fights, right? So the Phantom Army is a great example of that. Phantom Army is on a 60-second-ish cooldown, give or take. So you'll see me use it for anything that looks large-ish, right? This is just the way I think. Everyone can do differently. For something like Domination, that takes a while. So far, my Domination bar is not even ready yet, right? You've seen me fight for, I don't know, 2-3 minutes so far. It's not even ready yet. So, you know, once you use the bar, it empties, and you got to fill the bloody thing back up again. So for that, yeah, I'm only going to use that against a boss. Unless I just really need it. Obviously, if I'm dealing with a situation that's getting a bit tough, then let's go ahead and burn that bad boy, sure. It'll come back in 3 minutes, give or take. I'll recharge it again. So now it's charged. Now it's finally charged. So now I can use it now. Now I can use it now. I have noticed that in some RPGs where you see, like, some people have a ton of consumables, or myself, I'll speak for myself. Sometimes when I have a ton of consumables, it's not necessarily because I don't think, oh, I should never use them, whatever have you. A lot of times it's because the game isn't challenging enough to where I need to use them, right? Consumables are supposed to be like small spikes in recovery or power or whatever have you. That's to help you get through particularly tough situations for the most part. Right? Unless you're playing like a class or something like an alchemist that uses consumables as part of their bread and butter attacks and whatnot. But, I mean, if a consumable doesn't do like what I just described, let's just say a consumable is just a bread and butter attack. It's just in a different form, in the form of a consumable. And whatever have you. Then to me, it's just more effort. Why wouldn't I just use my bread and butter attack? If a consumable only does a bread and butter attack, why would I? It's just more effort. I'm just going to use my bread and butter attacks. If it's more powerful than a bread and butter attack, or bread and butter heal, or whatever have you, a lot of characters have like some small heals and stuff like that. And if the consumable is better, then the implication there is, of course, use it for when times are a little tougher. Use it for when you need it. But if the game never challenges you, and your bread and butter is just doing just fine, you may never use them. You may. Oh gosh, that's Professor Echo right there. Speaking of bosses, oh good grief, and he's just running past me. I feel like I should know what Professor Echo's doing there. What's he doing? Is he a boss? He's a lieutenant. I can stun a lieutenant. Yeah, I have no idea what he's doing. That's really odd to see one of these guys running out. Yeah, you're right. Technically, Brian says that. Domination isn't, technically on a cooldown. It just takes a while to charge, and that's true. I just use the language of a cooldown because functionally that's the way it ends up working out, right? And I can't tell you how many times, guys, I've gotten to some elite boss at the end and that bar isn't full. Now I got to go and find things to kill to fill up the bar, because trying to fight an elite boss with a Dominator without the Domination bar active is about as much fun as a trip to the dentist. And you heard it here first. Now here we got a largest group, so we'll go ahead and pull out Phantom Army. Let them have some fun with these guys. While I get in there and do some nice damage. I love the Phantom Army. They're just in there. They're just having fun. They're not reeling, yet they are. It's kind of like when Shield Wall was a 30-minute cooldown vanilla WoW. You had to use it at the right time rather than just on a cooldown. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And the Domination bar, I think cooldown wise, or however you want to look at it, the length of time it takes to fill up wise, I think it's in a good spot. Like it's pretty powerful, and it lasts for 90 seconds, and then it takes me a good 3 minutes of solid killing or so to fill it back up again. I think that's fine for what it does and everything else. But because of that, I only use it when I kind of sort of really need it, and not as a convenience tool. Now, I've seen the arguments. There are definitely arguments saying what happens is people never use it, and so it gives them no value rather than giving them the value, giving them a good chunk of value. and therefore, you know, maybe you're going through the dungeon slower than you have to or whatever have you because you're not using this valuable tool that's at your disposal. The thing is, so we take a look at what it does, right? It does two things. One is it recharges, actually does three things. One, it recharges your endurance. Two, it makes your holds more powerful. Three, it can help you with mez if you're being mezzed a lot. Okay, so let's go through each of those. All right, so the mez protection, you don't see me getting mezzed a whole lot here, okay? So I'm going to put that on the shelf. That's situational, and it can be useful, but I've got a couple of break frees that I have for mezzes, and you don't see me using them because I'm not getting mezzed. Okay, number two, stronger controls. In case you haven't noticed, against minions and lieutenants, my controls are working just about every single time on the first time. Now, there are going to be some exceptions. So you're fighting against Vazalok, things like that, then, you know, you might have some issues there because they tend to be pretty resistant to mind control and whatever have you. That's just the way they be rolling. But for Longbow, for example, here, I don't need stronger hold. It doesn't help because my holds work the first time. It might make them last a little bit longer, but length of the hold isn't really a big problem here. The third thing is endurance. Which my endurance runs low on this character quite a bit, no doubt, absolutely, positively. But you know, in those cases, it would probably just be best to use an inspiration or just wait till the fight's almost over. If it's almost over, who cares? The fight finishes a little bit slower, and then I take a knee. That's what knees are for. You take a knee, and you get your endurance back. Gosh, gee whiz willikers. I'm a patient guy. I'm not a go guy. I'm okay with taking a knee after a fight, you know, and getting my endurance back the old-fashioned way. For me, that's totally fine. I'm okay with slower gameplay. Technically, so I don't think that if I was more liberal with my domination use, I don't think that I would substantially decrease my time in clearing dungeons. It doesn't help me. If domination increased my damage by 50% during its 90-second runtime, that would be a different story. So, there is my old man rant while we're working through this kill-all scenario here. Oh, hello, nurse. This guy should know it's a kill-all, so I have to kill everybody. Let me do a sweep one more time up here. Let's see here. Hey, Barnsey, welcome to the show. I don't know if it's the first time you've been here, but it feels like it. Illusion Psychic, nice. That's, yes, this character and Fallout Queen, which are my two long-play character, solo self-funded characters that I'm doing video series on. They were both chosen by the community, and the community chose this power set combination. So, there you go. Oh, hello. Bad guys. I found some bad guys. Oops, and I just turned off my stealth. I was supposed to turn off my flight here. Bye, bad guy. Oh, it's Zoltar. How you doing, Zoltar? Zoltar, I recognize. Wait, did one of those longbows get away? I took my eye off the ball for a second, and I feel like somebody's shooting at me. Aha, there he is. Got him. My mind psychic is now 25. Cool, cool. Just made a katana ninjutsu scrapper. Very nice. I think you'll have fun with that. I think you'll have a lot of fun with that. So anyways, that's my domination speech. Yeah. There you go. Take that to the bank. But if you're a kind of domination player that constantly pops the power every time it pops up and it makes you happy and you're having a good time, that's all that matters. So keep up the good work. Alright, so we probably have some more guys down in this room over here. You gotta love these kill-alls. Just have you combing through these labyrinths non-stop looking for bad guys. You know, they could just make it like kill 90%. Why can't they just make it kill 90%? What would be wrong with that? I think I accidentally put those Mirages in the wall there. Sorry about that, Mirages. I only got 2 decoys. Oh, there it is. Okay, there's a third one. I was about to say, because I think the third one got stuck on the other side of that wall. One would think that illusionary decoys could work their way through a wall, but you never know. Someone's got a headache over here. I somehow doubt he's the only Talos agent over there. I was correct. Why don't you attack your friend? And why don't you stay still for me? Wow, I cleared it on the first go. I didn't have to go back looking for stragglers. Lucky me. Lucky me. Let's return back to our contact here, Marshall Brass. Sunshine has not seen fit to give us his phone number here. Oh, he's right here on this map. I was about to teleport back to Ouroboros, but I think I can just fly over to him real quick. A time deflector. Interesting. I'm going to keep this quiet. But this isn't over. Let me tell you about what the Wyvern have been up to. You do good work. You should see if one of my new enhancements can help sharpen your edge. You may contact me directly if you wish. Wyvern agents known to work with Professor Echo have been seen observing 2 unused Arachnos bases. They have yet to take direct action. I want you to investigate those bases. Find out why they're interested in them. Obliterate anyone who might stand in your way. Can you do that? Do it. I like how the options do it. Good. That's why you make the big bucks. Your mission profile is simple. The base should be empty. If not, destroy all opposition till it is. See if you can discover why Wyvern and Echo are interested in those 2 bases. Report to me when you're done. So this is another kill-all. The villain missions tend to be better paced. They tend to be like 3 doors each. But the flip side is that they don't give great reward merits per hour spent playing, or per minute, or however you want to look at it. When you get later on in these levels, lots of kill-alls will definitely take your time up. Here's a fun subject of conversation while we're doing another kill-all. And when you do a kill-all, you're killing time. Well, let's see. This might be an easy, simple base. Let's see what the base looks like here. You know, it's going to be simple till I saw that elevator over there. Anyways, a $1 million question. Oh, well, let's see here. Can we confuse one of these lads over here? Missed. I didn't even know you can miss with that. Let's see here. Let's see if we can try this again. There we go. These little shiv in there. Okay, so our point of discussion for today, boys and girls. You can do it in the comments section if you're watching the video on demand. If you're watching the live stream, you can answer me in real time in chat. Do you like playing video games? Do you like playing villains? If not, why not? And what's prompting this question today is I did have one of my people in one of my comment sections lately write that he never played the red side because he says it just doesn't feel right. And I said, why not? What do you mean it doesn't, like, explain? What do you mean it doesn't feel right? And he said, well, because you're playing a villain. It doesn't feel right. That's his explanation. So what about you guys? Do you have a problem playing villains or not? And if not, or if so, why? What do you got for me? Share your thoughts with me down in the comment section down below. Or, if you're watching live stream, I will read some of the live stream comments here in between beating these guys up. I do like the design of these Shivens with the skeletons inside of a bunch of goo. I think that's actually pretty darn cool, especially for an older game. I really like it. Now he's a dead Shivan. So Brian says, depends on the game. But with City of Heroes, no. And like, no way. Yeah, expand, guys. I want paragraphs. Take up the chat. The chat is yours. And I will read your comments live, and they'll be saved on this video for all eternity. This poor guy, he's just Shivan that's shivering in his boots. The Shivan shivering. Like, see, my endurance is low right there. I just take I should be using my inspirations here, actually. Sometimes we don't use the consumables, not because we're dying to save them for a rainy day, but just out of laziness. Let me press the button and burn a couple of those right now. People are generally good. Easier to play as a good guy. People are generally good? Are they? Really? Really? Oh, that could get me down a theological road real quick. Are people generally good? Yeah, I don't know about that. But we're talking about a role-playing. We're talking about a role-playing game, right? Where you're playing a role. You're supposed to be playing somebody you don't normally are. So if you think of yourself as a good person, maybe you should be playing a bad person to get yourself out of your comfort zone. If you're used to being a guy, maybe you should play a female. Like, isn't the point of a role-playing game is to play something a little outside the box? You're not normally a superhero, right? But you're playing a superhero game. Let's see. In City of Heroes, the villains don't feel dastardly. Is that a reason to play them or not play them, Brian? That's a million-dollar question. Heroes, let me kill one of these guys while I'm talking here. Get one of these guys kind of going off on this guy over here. Heroes just seem more natural for cooperating. Villains, I see it in for themselves, so hard to get into it. But I've committed to playing a villain for that upcoming static group. Well, you know, villains come together, you know, in comics all the time, obviously, to be able to band together against the heroes and the law figures and the governments, because you know, any one of those entities is very powerful for a singular villain to try to take on his own. So they do band together quite often. Just depends, obviously, on the comic that you're reading and stuff like that. I always like the story of the tragic villains, too, right? They're not... A lot of tragic villains, like, you know, Mr. Freeze from the Batman cartoons and stuff like that, Magneto from the X-Men, they're not really just dying to stab you in the back and be evil. They're just, you know, on the wrong side of the law, and they believe, you know, that some, you know, they just believe a little bit differently than the heroes, but they can have some pretty honorable traits. Magneto doesn't think of himself as a bad guy. During live, I played City of Villains mainly for the PvP. Oh, hold on one second. This guy's being a little ornery. Oh, wait. During live, I played City of Villains. Oh, wait. I'm missing some comments here. City of Heroes versus City of Henchmen. Well, that's I guess that's probably not wrong. It's some cities like Kingdom Come or something, I can feel guilty for some behavior even though it's fake. In some games like Kingdom Come or something, I can feel guilty for some behavior even though it's fake. Yeah, that's true. That's true. I guess you could, I suppose. I don't feel guilty because it's a video game, but it's fake. But I read books like where people do bad things in a fantasy all the time. They're murdering each other, whatever, even if it's the main character, the protagonist, right? Yeah, but sure. I guess you could. Sure. During live, I played City of Villains mainly for PvP. Now that I only play City of Villains when I'm feeling antisocial and solo. You know, that's not actually an unusual approach, right? So when I played City of Villains a couple of times, like back in the day and stuff, it was on solo characters and antisocial, to be antisocial. Absolutely, positively. And their classes, their archetypes are better geared for soloing too. So it kind of tracks. Your feelings on the matter and the mechanics in the game are actually, in my opinion, well aligned. Let's see what else we're going to say here. I haven't, let's see. I haven't played a villain nor created one yet. I guess I want to be the hero. Oh yeah, that's fair. That's fair. Now, I guess the question is also mostly to people who've been playing the game alive. You're just first coming to the game, or you've only been here for a couple of months. You're still doing the hero thing. That's cool. It is fascinating to me. Like, you got some guy who's been playing for 3 years though, and he's like exhausted all the hero content 3 times over, but he hasn't gone to the rest side. Like, there's a whole other half of the game he hasn't experienced yet because he has some compunctures. He has some concerns. He has something holding him back from enjoying something that the developers put so much time into. So I find that kind of interesting. Let's see here. Let's see. True, villains do band together, but the gameplay of City of Heroes is a lot of doing missions for people, which is kind of subservient. I don't know, is that much more subservient than the hero? I mean, I just did a hero quest where it's like, I need you to go do this. I'm freaking her FedEx, man. Am I subservient? Well, I don't know. I take some exception with that statement. Because so the heroes, you're constantly doing chores and errands for various police officers and stuff like that. You could say, well, I'm not subservient because I'm basically accepting it as the hero. I'm not like reporting for duty. I've signed up and I have to do what you tell me to do. But in City of Villains, it isn't like these missions. If you read these missions aloud, which I've been doing, it isn't like they're like, haha, you better do what I tell you to do or I'm going to kill you, you little peasant worm. That's not the way it's worded at all. That's not the way it's worded at all. You're an upcoming villain full of a lot of promise at the beginning, and certain high-level villains are watching you and watching your progress as you're moving up through the ranks. And then you accept these jobs from, let's say, neighborhood, leaders or gang leaders or whatever the case may be, of your own volition to raise up your status, because you're using them and they're using you, and it's accepted, but you don't have to do anything. You're not subservient. You're not subservient. Heroes are subservient as well, but it makes sense. I'm not super sure that the villains... Yeah, I guess I don't necessarily would buy the argument that the villains makes less sense than the hero missions do. If you watch this mission that I'm doing here, I could have told the guy no, right? Just like you can on the hero's side. I'm not subservient. And he's given me good reasons for why he wants this done. The reasons make as much sense as any of the City of Heroes reasons do, in a corny comic booky sort of way. Oh, we got Professor Echo action up here. Let's break out the illusions here to draw their attention here. Villain recruitment stream. Well, I just want to understand the arguments. I think, like I've said on several of these arguments, that makes sense to me. I understand that, right? I don't know if I necessarily buy into the argument that the reasons behind the villains' missions are more disconnected or subservient than the heroes' missions. If you're reading the villains' missions carefully, they actually, I think there's some assumptions made by some people that I think the writers have done a good job of avoiding. And I criticize the writing in this game quite a lot. But I think they've done a good job of avoiding the stereotype that as a low-level villain, you're going to be doing a lot of missions where some higher-level villain is pushing you around. And instead, it actually feels a little bit like a hero story. Because you're an up-and-coming member of their society. They recognize power or potential in you. So, in a way, the story writing in City of Villains breaks some stereotypes, and I think that some people's opinions that I've heard, I'm just wondering if those opinions are actually formed based on experience playing through the storylines and just having a different perception than me, or if they're based on stereotypes and assumptions made. Hey, it's 2 Chaos. Lord Chaos has joined the stream now. There's 2 Chaoses. Mind you, I'm the guy who normally says, if the writing isn't great. So if I'm praising that part of the writing, that's something there. I am missing some. Oh, there they are, right there. I'll say I'm missing some villains or some enemies somewhere because the mission hasn't cleared yet. Gosh, how close do I have to be to telekinetic the rest of this guy? I know it's a melee attack, but... There we go. That'll clear the mission. Alright. So let's return to the contact here. Alright, this is getting weird. While you were busy, Wyvern moved into the other old base. We haven't attacked yet. Don't want to flush them into hiding. I'd rather crush them in one place. I like to have you do it. Wyvern and Professor Echo are in the second abandoned base. This is a chance to get Echo once and for all. Get a whole gang together. I don't want him getting away. Don't worry as much about getting everyone. Concentrate on Echo and find out what's going on here. So the last mission here really is just finally just beat the boss. And you don't have to worry about the small fry along the way. It seems like the Arachnos watches over the upcoming villains due to Project Destiny. Yeah, you know, they kind of tell you sometimes, oh, Arachnos is taking note of your skill and stuff. But the implication of what these commanders and lieutenants are telling me is that he's watching you because you're full of promise. Which actually almost sounds like a heroic story arc, right? The guy in charge appreciates what you're doing. Keep up the good work. I mean, shoot, these villains are more affirming and positive than my bosses at work sometimes. At least at my old job. My new job's pretty nice. All right, so I can ignore these guys here. Now I do have better concealment with illusion than you would get with celerity stealth here. So I was about to say that much, in my opinion, is assumptions. I haven't actually played City of Villains. Yeah, that's why I just wonder about some of this. And you're not the only one, Barnsey. Just to be clear, and I'm not trying to make anybody feel bad or anything like that. Just like having discussion. I have to talk about something during these streams, but I do find it to be a bit of an interesting topic, and I do feel like from some of the answers I'm getting back from people that there is a lot of assumptions. Now, with that being said, you know, City of Heroes writing is never, in my opinion, not that good. It's definitely not great. And that's in the best story arcs. So a lot of this is filling in your own story in your head, you know, and your own canon, so to speak. So I think you can make your villain story however you want. And like you take the Polite Punisher. Polite Punisher is one of my favorite Dominator characters that I play. And in my head, he is acting on the side of justice, right? The thing is, he's like the Punisher from Marvel Comics. Now, I don't know why the Punisher, I guess, from Marvel Comics is a hero. He's on the hero side, but he does kill anybody who gets in his way, or he kills anybody who's doing bad things or whatever have you, whereas the other heroes usually, not always, try to not kill people. Anyways, Polite Punisher, he's just like the Punisher. He's punishing those people who are basically stepping out of line and working against civilization and breaking the rules of civilization, such as it is in the land of Arachnos. And he's doing it a bit lethally, right? Because that's the one way to stop the problem. The system of putting them in a jail and everything else doesn't always work, but he's always polite about it. He's not rude. He's not swearing around like Punisher is. So here we have a boss, so I might use my... I'm going to definitely use the illusions to help me out here. Yeah, good luck, Professor Echo, with my my various minions there. And there we go. 15 reward merits for 35 minutes. 35 minutes on that one. Last time I did in 30 minutes. This one was 35 minutes for 15 reward merits. Okay, not too shabby. Not as good as the hero side mission I did today, where for 35 minutes I got like 23 merits. But, you know, we'll take it. You sure that other person looked like Dr. Aeon? This might make sense with the time travel deflector. Honestly, I don't know what I should do with this yet. I'll report that you took care of Professor Echo. I'm going to have a think about what to do about Dr. Aeon. Either way, that's the last thing I have for you. You did well. You've proven yourself. My store is entirely open to you. See, I mean, they're generally pretty pleasant. Like, he's not like, and next time you better do the job better, my minion. Yeah, they're pretty pleasant here. They're, you know, it's a cooperative, like, and it kind of makes sense. No society would last for very long if it was constantly, you know, everyone's at each other's throat and constantly stabbing each other in the back. It's one of the things I wondered back when I was reading Dungeons and Dragons books and stuff. Like, how does the Dark Elves, who worship Loth, who's like a chaotic evil god, a whole society is pretty evil, how do they survive? And I think that the author, whose name's escaped me at the moment, I think he did a really good job of drawing that picture. That's one of the reasons I love books, because I do stuff. Oh, I didn't even realize Mirage Monarch hit a new level. I should go level her up before we stop the video, because you guys are getting to experience the full journey with Mirage Monarch here. Yeah. You guys can definitely let me know what you think of the playing the villain debate such as it is, which makes you wonder if there's even a 25% or a 15% part of the player base that will refuse to play villains out of principle. Should the developers have made a City of Heroes expansion focusing on heroes? Did they waste their time? Was that part of the reason why they started to struggle? Let's see here. You may request training another. Train to a new level of power. This is, what, level 24, so we're getting a new power. We can flash, which is going to make enemies unable to defend themselves. Subdued does a lot of damage. Let's see. Subdue does 91. Arcane Bolt does 93. Really? Is that the potential damage based on me getting a critical hit or something? Subdue. 80% chance of an immobilize. Or Mind Probe. Groups the foes. This is a single target melee attack. 68's not shabby. That's actually better than Subdue. Recharge time 8 seconds. Endurance 10 versus 8. Single target. Single target. or Flash, which is another big hold. Total hold. It's a hold. It is definitely a hold. A big old boy hold. Gleam has not really been... I don't know. For some odd reason, I swear Gleam doesn't do much for me. Flash. I'm going to want all of these eventually, but... For now... I don't really have a strong opinion which one I want right now. So... I will stick with Flash. Okay. All right. And Flash has a long cooldown on it, so I'll pull up I'll go ahead and buy a recharge reduction, and we will call that a video. For those of you watching this on demand and whatnot, just buy a recharge reduction here from Yale Quartermaster. Recharge, recharge, recharge. Enhance, manage, slap that bad boy in the Flash. There we go. And that is all we wrote for Mirage. What? That Ouroboros portal, what's the cooldown on that? 5 minutes? I swear I used it more than... I don't know. Maybe I'm going crazy. I still think it should be on cooldown. Oh, it is on cooldown. Okay. It just isn't showing that. I was about to say. That's okay. We'll stop the video here. Thank you guys so much. For those of you watching the video on demand, for the guys on the stream, we're still streaming. But for video on demand people, thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate it as always. We'll pop this into playlist, and there'll be more Mirage Monarch in the near future. Until next time, may God bless you.